Okay, we're doing Holy Grail Wisdom Quotes by me, Pete Rogers, alphabetical order. We're first starting out with Menander. Menander was a playwright in the Roman Republic around 343, 291 BC. And so he was sort of coming into it as the Greeks were sort of, being controlled and taken over by the Romans. He says, know thyself is a good saying, but not in all situations. It's much often more beneficial to know the others you're dealing with. Yeah, try to know the players in your negotiation. By associating with wise people, you become wise yourself. Yeah, that's the best thing you do. Like for your kids, get them around good kids that are doing useful things, okay? Kids on the math team, kids running cross country. For yourself, if you want to become good at something, get around the best people. You want to become a good wrestler, get around the best wrestlers, the best coaches. Be a good student, get around the best students. Of all the wild beasts on land or sea, the wildest is a woman. And I'm telling you, man, women are very different than men. My life experience from being around my mother versus my father, from, my girlfriends or my ex-wife, they behave totally different than a man does. With a man, you make a deal, that's the deal. It'll stay that way for 5 years. You don't even have to think about it again. With a girlfriend or a wife, I always get the feeling they're working me, trying to manipulate me into a position where they can get more money out of me, get me to do more work for them. They're sort of like, as a guy, I'm not thinking about the woman. I want to make a two-back beast with her at night before I go to bed. Other than that, I don't really think about her, okay? I hope she cooks me dinner. I'm not thinking about her. I love her, but I don't really think about her. Versus it's almost like she's always like asking me questions. Are you happy? Is everything good? And I'm like, what is that? If I say I'm happy, does that mean I have to give you more money or something when you go to the store? I mean, what is that? They're always working you. You always feel like they're trying to position themselves relative to you. And it's like you have to keep your guard up with them. It's weird, but that's how it is. All right, that's why all those dating coaches are real helpful. They tell you the truth. College professors are worthless. They can't tell the difference between a man and a woman. Dating coaches, they're valuable. I learn a lot from those guys. I'm a country dweller. Okay, here's Menander. I'm a country dweller. I call a spade a spade. Art is man's refuge from adversity. Yes, that's true. Menander, riches cover a multitude of woes. It's kind of like, St. Peter. He said, love covers a multitude of sins. And there's truth in both those statements. Menander, we live not as we wish to, but as we can. Yeah, most of us work so much. We're tired from working all the time. We just do the best we can with the little bit of free time we have. Okay, the star of today's video is H.L. Mencken. H.L. Mencken lived from 1880 to 1956. He was an American newspaper writer, reporter, columnist. He had his biggest popularity in the Roaring '20s. In some ways, he's a little bit like a modern Voltaire in both good and bad. So what's good about him? He was kind of clever, kind of funny, kind of had a good bullshit detector for some things. So he could concisely say funny things here and there. But he was also a jerk. He was an atheist, and so he promoted all this destructive crap. Whenever you run into somebody who promotes atheism, what you can bet is coming next is they think their ethnic group or their religion is better than yours, and they think that their ethnic group or religion should run everything, okay? And they think, whatever their ethnic group or religion wants, that should have dominance over you. Okay, and they also think they know a lot more. You can't be a serious student of biology or biochemistry and be an atheist, or you're a liar, because it's impossible. It's so over-the-top complex. It's just unbelievable. The mitochondria is a nuclear power plant and an electrical generator, coal-burning electricity plant, all in one, thousands of them inside your little cell. Only God could do that, okay? It's so miraculously complex. Okay, some quotes by H.L. Mencken. One horse laugh is worth 10,000 syllogisms. The artist is not a reporter, but a great teacher. It is not his business to depict the world as it is, but as it ought to be. The chief contribution of Protestantism to human thought is massive proof that God is a bore. Okay, so I think he's got a little bit of a German background, so he's basically saying Protestantism, Lutheranism is boring. Okay. The most costly of all follies is to believe passionately in the palpably not true. Love is a delusion, the delusion that one woman differs from another. The happiest people are single men and married women. I know what it's like to be single. When you're single, you're a little lonely, but there's no BS in your life. Okay, as soon as you get a woman, it's like a woman is almost like God's invention to empty a man's wallet. It's like all of a sudden, oh, can you give me some money for this? Can you give me some money for this? Please, come on. And you're like, all right, here, fine. And all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I don't got any money anymore. What the hell happened? Because a guy doesn't really care. I don't need to spend money. I mean, I just want to sit around, read a couple papers, read a book, work on a book, write a book chapter, make a YouTube video. I've been on a plane once in the last 28 years. My ex-wife could go on vacation 8 times in 1 year. Can't deal with that. I hate going to an airport. I hate all that stuff. Okay, H.L. Mencken continues. Love is the triumph of imagination over intelligence. Love is like war, easy to begin but hard to stop. Marriage makes the average man into a slave. The longest sentence you can form with 2 words is I do. The average man never really thinks until the end of his life. The mental activity of such people is only the mouthing of cliches. What they mistake for thought is simply a repetition of what they have heard. My guess is that well over 80% of the human race goes through their entire life without having a single original thought. Yeah, he's a little bit of a misanthrope. And what is a good citizen? Someone who simply never says or does or thinks anything unusual. Schools are maintained in order to bring this conformity up to the highest possible point. A school is a hopper into which children are heaved while they are still young and tender. Therein they are pressed into certain standard shapes and covered from head to heels with official rubber stamps. Yeah, I've noticed that too. A ruler likes everybody to be kind of dumb, kind of a functional illiterate, because they're just easy to control. You manage them like a farm animal, okay? The smarter the person is, the more they're going to have thoughts that are out of, the politically correct range, because they're going to analyze things and just more objectively see what is true or not. The aim of public education is not to spread enlightenment at all. It is simply to reduce as many individuals as possible to the same safe level, to train a standardized citizenry, to put down dissent and originality. That is the aim in the USA, and whatever the pretensions may be of pedagogues and other such mountebanks, means phonies, that is its aim everywhere. And he's right. What basically grade school and high school do is they take these 12 precious years of your life and they throw them into a garbage can. It's a complete waste of time. It is designed to be a waste of time. Memorizing vocabulary words for a test on Friday. It's ridiculous. You're going to forget all of them. It's made that way. The excessive emphasis on mathematics. It's a waste of time. Nobody needs that much mathematics except an engineer or something, okay? I'm a pretty high-tech guy in terms of what I do for my work. And I don't use any math I didn't know after 3rd grade. They have them do math because they know it's going to be worthless for them. They don't teach you how to start a company. They don't teach you how to change the oil on your car, change the tires on your car, finance a house, pick the wife that's least likely to divorce you. They don't teach you that. That would be too useful. They don't teach you how the stock market works. Okay. H.L. Mencken continues, never argue with those whose job depends on not being convinced. Yeah, that's why you'll never teach conventional medicine about nutrition, because they lose money on it. The whole aim is to keep the populace alarmed and hence clamorous to be led to safety by an endless series of hobgoblins, most of them imaginary. The urge to save humanity is almost always a false front for the urge to rule it. Yep, that's true. Watch out for the people who say they're going to help you. If somebody's says that they're the authority. Coming from big money. Most people want security in this world, not liberty. Sadly, that's true too. That's why we're kind of screwed, because there's so few people that want freedom, and rulers don't want the people that have freedom, so it's unlikely to continue. Okay, the men the American people admire the most are the most daring liars. The men they detest the most violently are the ones who try to tell them the truth. The whole world has little liking for the habitual truth teller and truth seeker. He is always unpopular, and not infrequently his unpopularity is so excessive that it endangers his life. Run your eye back over the list of martyrs, lay and clerical, and 9/10 of them you will find stood accused of nothing worse than honest efforts to figure out and announce the truth. Yeah, I've had that experience too. Like my girlfriend told me, you shouldn't upset the corporation. She says, in a communist country, they would just kill you. And I'm like, well, I said, lucky for me, I'm shadow banned and I'm censored. So I have so little influence, I don't think they're going to come after me. Because, I'm getting what? 50 to 200 views on my long form videos. That's next to nothing, okay? The high-fat phonies are getting 200,000, a million views, all right? They're controlling what the public thinks, what the pros think. I'm just an outlet for the few people who want, to get the truth. And there's not many that seek it with that much effort. Okay, H.L. Mencken continues. Of all the forms of visible otherworldliness, the Gothic is at once the most logical and the most beautiful. It reaches up magnificently. So that's what I also think. You start seeing that come out. It's like, well, gee, why is it that the Gothic cathedrals are the most beautiful buildings ever made? Because of Christianity, okay? Why is it that the best scientists who ever lived are Christians, like Isaac Newton, okay? Why is it that the best novels, 19 out of 20, come from Christianity? Why is it that 99.9% of the best paintings come from Christianity? Because it generates great achievements, because it tells man that his life is worth more. It has meaning, okay? Atheism says life has no meaning. How are you going to create when everything has no meaning? Okay, why is it that 99% of the good music is Christian? Because, once again, it creates a worldview with meaning and purpose, and that leads to quality achievements. Okay, H.L. Mencken, the definition of a historian is unsuccessful novelist. A man who knows a subject thoroughly, a man so soaked in it that he eats it, sleeps it, and dreams it, that man can always teach with success, no matter how little he knows of technical pedagogy, teaching experience. Yeah, they should decertify teachers, because you get all these phony teachers that don't know anything, wasting the children's time. I remember school was so painful. There's always some stranger lady up there going blah, 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 talking about some meaningless crap, that she's assigned to teach from some centralized bureaucracy 1,000 miles away. It's a total waste of your kid's time. If I was born again, I would ditch school every day. School was a total waste of my time. I regret that I went to school, for grade school and high school. It was a waste of my time. H.L. Mencken, conscience is the inner voice which warns us something may be looking. The best teacher is the one most capable of reducing knowledge to that simple compound of the obvious and the wonderful. Yeah, you get a good teacher who knows the subject and wants to help you. It's fun. It's like, the good old days when you're learning from an older friend or your parents or a good coach. The wise man revises his opinions when new information becomes available. The fool never does. Any man who afflicts the human race with ideas must be prepared to see them misunderstood. With precious few exceptions, all the books on style in English are written by writers quite unable to write. The subject seems to exercise a special and dreadful fascination over schoolma'ams, bucolic college professors, and other such pseudo-literates. Okay, so that's it for H.L. Mencken. Hope you found that interesting.